All right, so today I have a very special guest. This is going to be an awesome episode. I can see it already. She's a friend of mine. We met on Instagram. We've done a few lives together. Her name is Karen Larrea. And Karen, how you doing today?
I am doing great, Ismael. I am super excited to be here. I think you know I love your work, so you're one of my favorite collaborators.
Thank you so much. What are some of the main concerns that you hear from women, ladies that approach you and ask you for advice?
I think, my clientele, the clients I work with, it is a 50-50 split. The majority, what they say to me is the men are telling me, we're not going to talk about women, but the men are telling me that the women are playing games and the women are saying the men are playing games. So where's the disconnect? Online dating has messed up a lot of the dating scene.
Yeah.
I do it. It's muddied the waters for sure. There's not that where you either meet at work or through a friend or in a club or, I remember, back in the day when I was dating in my early 20s or, what did I do? I would go to clubs and meet in the club or at work, friends. And there's that disconnect. I think a lot of people are not. There is the online dating of, oh, he didn't work out, or he said the wrong thing, or she said the wrong thing, next. They're not going into the deeper level of, could this be a relationship? Let me think about it. He wore green socks. I don't like him. Bye. It's a disposable dating world, and I hear it from both is what they're saying on both sides.
Yeah, I've been on dating apps. I think like 2.5 years ago, I was on dating apps. And it's funny that you say that because sometimes when you are in a long-term relationship and you come out of it, even me, I was in a 5-year relationship. When I came out of it, I was like, whoa, how do you do this? I don't even, because back in the day, even when I was in high school, I remember the thing with dating apps also, besides having all the choices, is that it's so easy to get a date. It's just swipe right, you match, okay, let's go on a date, right? Where before, back in high school, I remember in Cuba, I had to write a letter with a pencil and give it to her friend. And it was just all this effort that once I got to talk to the girl, it was really worth it because I put all this effort into it, and now it's just like, okay, we matched.
I think right there, the word you said, effort, there's a lack of effort, I think, on both parts. From women, I'm really hearing that there's a lack of effort of men. There's no more of, like you say, I had to put the effort in, I had to write her a note, I had to, the little box, do you like me, do you not like me, yes, no, or check off. But, in now terms, it because there is that, I have so many choices, there is not that effort that they're putting in. So from the women, so you asked me specifically about the women, they're saying that the men are not putting effort in. There's no more of that romance, there's no more of that chivalry, there's no more of like, I'm going to take her out on a proper date. I'm going to send flowers. I'm going to call her. They're not doing that anymore. That I do hear. And ages from, 30 into their 60s.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, because a lot of men are jaded, I can see why. Yeah. I've had experiences where it's just, you have to stick to your core values.
Yes.
You cannot let a woman determine the way that you behave as a man.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I see, even on TikTok, so many of these things of like, okay, if they cheated on you, cheat back and all these things. And then it's like, okay, why are you letting somebody else to dictate your own values, as a person? So I think it is very easy, right? You can get, let's say, driven into a direction where when a woman does something, let's say she's not loyal to you, she cheats on you, she plays games with you, that you go out there and start doing the same, right? It's the thing that I find with a few men that approach me, that I tell them, like, well, okay, why are you letting a woman dictate the type of man that you want to be? Yes. And I think it's just sticking to your core values and being able to cut the losses really soon. Yes. Because a lot of the times men get distracted by the looks, right? And a lot of the times even women get distracted by the words.
Yes.
And people don't really look at the actions. I think when you have a very strong vision, okay, this is what I want and this is who I am. Because first it's like you got to know who you are to be able to attract what you want. Because you never attract really what you want, right? You attract who you are. Yes. Like if you are insecure, you're probably going to attract somebody who's avoidant. Or maybe somebody who's anxious, just as you, has an anxious attachment style.
I love how you said about the women hear the talk. I always say words mean zero. Oh, but he told me we're going to go here and he's going to do this for me and we're going to go here. And no, What are the actions that he's going to follow through to get you to be exclusive, to be able to have that relationship with you? And they're already thinking from the first time. I know when someone tells me on a first or second date, that's it, I don't want you dating anyone else, I want to be exclusive. You don't know me. You're seeing this. You have no idea who I am inside. Get to know me inside, because you may not like me. I may not be the person for you. I may not be the fit for you.
If a guy doesn't ask you to be his girlfriend in the first 3 months of dating, if he doesn't ask for exclusivity, you're wasting your time. You have to understand that we men are very territorial, right? So when we see something that we want, we just want to have it for ourselves, and we don't want to share it with any other man. And think, if you gave a man the car of his dreams, would he leave it parked on the street for 3 months, waiting to see if another man could get on it? He wouldn't, right? He will lock that car, take it home with him, and guard it ferociously. A lot of the times women, I made this video and it was sometimes I do stir the pot a little bit, where I said, never tell a man what you want in the first 3 months. And everybody was like, wow, but that's playing games. You got to be honest. Yes, if you're in a level of self-awareness, or like you're good at reading the red flags, right? You can discern when a man is trying to manipulate you, but a lot of times you don't have that knowledge, or you find men that are so good at it that they can just spin you around. So I think it's easier as a defense mechanism, as protecting yourself. When you start dating a man, you don't say what you want. I'm just getting to know you. I don't know you, or you seem interesting, right? I'm looking for an interesting man. I'm trying to get to know somebody new, Because then what happens is, when the man doesn't know what you want, he's going to give you what he thinks you deserve. He's going to read you, okay, what type of woman is this? He's going to make his own conclusions, right? It's going to be, okay.
When it comes to Nature Valley, which camp are you in? Oats and honey? Or everything bagel?
This is the type of woman that I can sleep around with. This is the type of woman that I want to make her my wife. And you're going to start noticing his behavior, and you're going to start seeing exactly that, the way he sees you. I've been lucky enough. That's the other thing, that I feel a lot of women they don't grow up with like strong male role models, right? Like, I grew up with very strong female role models. I know what a woman in love looks like. Yes. I know what a devoted woman, how she behaves, yes. Right? And I see those things, and I've been lucky enough to have girlfriends like that as well. So when you have that, template, right? You know exactly when somebody's like, no, they're not. And I used to, something that you do sometimes is that you try to force the person into the template, yes. Right? Instead of being like, no, this is the template and they're not behaving this way. It's because that's who they are. They're showing you who they are, so believe them, right?
I agree with you 1,000%. Don't ever, men or women, don't ever tell them what you want out of a partner, because they will do those things for you. Oh, because we're talking here on women's, but she wants this. If I'm a man, she wants this. She wants to be romanced. She wants flowers. She wants to just go down the list. They will do every single thing for you. She wants dates planned. Is that truly coming from him? He may want something. I want this from a woman. A woman will do it too. It's just human nature, because you want to fit, like you said, into that template. You do. I agree with you 1,000%. Allow them to show you who they are. That's when I've been asked that, I'm like, my question always, my response, is, when I see it, I'll know it. When I see it in that man, I will know that's what I want. And there was one date that, I wanted to just leave that date, and I stayed because I was just so nice. He literally for like 50 minutes was hammering, but tell me. And I'm like, I don't have a response. Of course I know what I want, but why? So I'm not going to give you that blueprint. For men, also, don't give that blueprint. Who is that person? Allow them to show you who they are.
Yeah, it's so funny when you were saying that. I was just thinking, in my dating life, I usually never, if it's somebody that I meet as a new person, I never say, I'm a relationship coach. I never show my Instagram or anything.
They find it, Ismael.
They do.
And then they think they know how to date you.
And then, but the ones that knew, it's just, it's just such a funny experience. Yeah, but Ismael, in this video, you said that thing. And I was like, yeah, but I'm talking to an audience, and it's like, also, when I talk about men, I'm not like most men, and this is not like patting myself on the shoulder.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah.
I'm like, I have worked so hard to develop the self-awareness and these things, like where I know my weaknesses. I know my weaknesses as a man. I know the things that from women that attract me that I have to try to, pull myself away to survive, let's say, like what I was saying with the sweetness, that I always see the sweetness in women and I see the best. And also, when we were going back to talking about attraction, something that I tell women a lot of the times is, it's like whatever you use to attract a man is the type of man that you will attract. If you only solely focus on your looks, guess what? You're going to attract a man that only focuses on your looks. Looks are really important, especially for women, granted. Any men, I can tell you, and this was an experience that I had as a teenager, later in my 20s, where I wouldn't understand, why does this happen, where I have all this infatuation and excitement with this woman, and then 3-6 months later, I was completely bored, right? It doesn't matter how beautiful she is, and I've been lucky enough to be with amazing, beautiful women. After 3-6 months, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
All
Absolutely.
the same thing. Now it's like, okay, can I have a conversation with her? What do we talk about when we have breakfast? How does she take care of me when I'm sick?
Yes.
And now it's about all these little things. And that's what happens to a lot of men, that they go from like relationship to relationship after 3-6 months, maybe after 12 months, because once they lose that infatuation, they want that rush again. And say, okay, I need a new woman because I need to feel this new rush. I need to make her fall for me again. And it's just this constant chasing, right? And I know that a lot of those men that I've seen later in their 70s, I have some men like that in my family, that a lot of the times they end up alone. And now their kids don't even take care of them because they didn't even take care of their kids. And now, I know this one that is in Cuba, he's 76. He's always complaining, my kids don't come see me. It's like, bro, like that's who you raised, that's what you gave. You're going to receive what you gave. So I think, when it comes to attraction, it's those things that a lot of the times women don't think about. It's like, okay, why don't you try, looks are important, look as beautiful as you can, but don't try to be so seductive with your looks.
Yes.
Like sometimes texting pictures, doing things like, you're pretty much showing to this man, like, this is my value. Instead of sending him like a quote of like, read this quote, I thought about you with this quote, right? And he thinks, oh, that's really sweet from her. I like the way she thinks.
I actually had this conversation a few days ago with someone about, I was talking about, I usually don't bring him up, but I was talking about my ex-husband. And I've been divorced 11 years, could be 11 years. And they said, but how did you found him attractive, And I was like, honestly, I'm going to tell you something. When I came back from my first date, I said to my mom, I don't think this is going to work out. He's not my type of guy. I'm really not attracted to him. I only went on a second date with him because we worked together. And I felt like embarrassed. But guess what? He, from there, won me over with who he was inside. And that's what won me over. And that's what made me fall in love. So I'm not one of those girls that look at the exterior. I want to see what I can find in the interior before the exterior. Because the exterior, when you fall in love with someone, I don't care if they look like Shrek. They may be Brad Pitt at that point to you because you have fallen in love with them. The way you look at them. So that's why I always say to people, look outside that box. Don't go, it has to be 6'2", blonde, blah, 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 your whole little list of what they look on the outside. For me, I do find what I find is a lot of men, they look on the outside, they want to immediately become possessive. Get to know me. Don't just date me. I hope you're dating me and you're dating 2 other women as well. I'm not saying being intimate. I'm huge on rotational dating. Until a man has the conversation, and as a woman, I don't feel the woman, this is my opinion, should be like, so, are we gonna be exclusive? Like, a woman should not bring up that exclusive talk. What are we? Allow a man to be in his masculine energy, pursue you, and bring that conversation up.
Yeah, and I think sometimes something that really always helps me is like, I get these comments sometimes from some of the women on, oh, I wish I could date a guy like you. You're like the perfect man. And I'm like, you should ask some of my exes Because they're gonna give you a whole list of complaints of like, I think sometimes I am a little bit controlling, but again, it's being self-aware. I'm like, okay, I'm being a little bit controlling. Let me just pull back. Let me give her, her freedom back. I am a little bit of a molding man. I made a video on YouTube where I like molding people because I think this is what's best for you.
Bob the Builder.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I did go through phases where I was like, she's never been loved before. Her dad, her brother, whatever. I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be the man who's going to show her what true love is and all these things. And then, that didn't work out, obviously. But a lot of the times I think about, I'm 33 now, and I think, okay, when I'm 40, because now when I'm 33, I talk, okay, when I was 25, when I was 21, and then I think, okay, when I'm 40, what am I going to be telling myself? Okay, when I was 33, I was doing this and that, and I try to like be those 5 steps ahead of myself to see what I'm lacking right now.
And to touch back on what you said, so 2 things. So how you said about, in your younger years, like, I thought women were taking advantage, or I would see them and say, oh my God, they're taking advantage. So I think that's something, I do hear that from a lot of men. And I'll always be like, wait a minute. That like to me is such a derogatory thing to say because not all women are like that. And I'll explain it to them. And then I had another dating coach that I had done something with them. And he said to me, women are, and it's always stayed.
Bring your trip to life with Expedia's Chat GPT integration.
In my head, and I always give this example. Women are naturally expensive. You just have to know which lane you can afford to drive in. And I was like, what? And then it made sense. And then I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. And it made sense in me. And I was like, okay, because I know, like when we do our things like on Instagram and our reels and our little things, like I love yours because yours are like to the point. They're facts. They're great. Me, I'll like do these things like just to stir the pot and like things that even like don't really reflect what I'm feeling and what I truly believe. But you know what? It stirs the pot and I love it because it gets people talking. So it gets people going. But, I have a son. I have a 15-year-old son. And as a single mother, I am raising him. I always say, gosh darn, if this kid is going to leave as a man from my house, being raised by a mother and a sister who, because his sister, she's 7.5 years older than him, so she's really big influence in his life. If he's not going to leave my house a gentleman and a masculine man, and when people get confused masculine energy, they think it's like a toxic thing. It's not. You have to be in a healthy masculine energy. But I teach them those things and I tell them, listen, I'll say to them, papi, you know what? There are going to be women that are going to want to take advantage. And that is going to be up to you to be in that healthy masculine energy, to be able to figure out who is really taking advantage of you or who really wants to be there. And you treat them as such. You treat them as a lady. You treat them. So, at 15, he opens car doors. He opens the doors. I always tell him, a woman first goes in the elevator, push the button. I tell him all these things. There's times that we're at the restaurant and he'll be like, Mom, stop. I'll hand him the credit card and I'll be like, here, because you need to learn to pay. We're going out to dinner. There's times even he has made reservations. Like he'll say, Mom, I want to go eat whatever, Italian. Okay, you find the restaurant and he'll make the reservations. Like one time he took me to South Beach and I'm like, of course, because I'm paying essentially. But I made him, it was like a whole date that he planned. But it also does come from either it's going to come from your household and your upbringing and the experience, or you're going to see the opposite and you're going to be able to say, I don't like we were talking in the background. Sometimes we say, I don't want that for my life. So you choose to heal yourself prior. So yeah, I think that's important.
Love it. Thank you so much, Karen.
Oh my God, thank you. I love this.
Where can people find you?
Where can people find me? You can find me on Instagram at KMLM21 or TikTok. And I hope you guys enjoy because I like to stir the pot. So
yes, it's a lot of fun. If you want to have fun, go laugh there a little bit. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Absolutely. Thank you.